I think that's a Jake that's here. Yeah. I'm confused. They're so good. What's up, Jake? Round 2. Fight. Oh, underground. Yeah, I'm going against. Alright, guys, I'm here. There's my face. Hold on, let me just go to YouTube real quick. I do that. Exit. Yeah, that's gonna take about 10 years to do. Everyone has to do a thing that they have to do. Okay, there we go. YouTube's in. Okay, hopefully the stream won't crash again, unlike last week. What's up, guys? What is up, everyone that's here? I just want to see very quick on YouTube. To freaking see if it works. Okay, it works. Nice. And another episode of... Okay, that's loading. What do you think of Game of Thrones, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms is going to be about? It's based on the Dunk and Egg book series, so it's mostly going to go off of that. All right, to everyone that's coming in, welcome to the stream. This is another episode of Anti-woke criticism is valid criticism, which it always is. Valid criticism. And for Pete's sake, today I'm gonna be reacting to a YouTuber called Monster Guard. Come on. Oh, it definitely is going to be the next spinoff. All right, so today I'm going to be reacting to an anti-woke critic called TH3 Birdman or the Birdman. I don't know how he oh, for crap's sake. I don't know how he freaking pronounces his channel, but first things first, I want to make a point on a certain video or a certain part of a video that I disagree with. What's up, everybody? All right, let's do it. Share. Okay. And then this time add to stage. There we go. Because during the first episode, I freaking forgot to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna turn off the music for now because I'm gonna be reacting. Right. Crap, I don't know where that went. All right, guys. Hang on. Hold on, let me try and find this certain video. Yeah, there is a certain video I was looking for and looking at. Hold on. No. Oh my shit. I'm trying to. There it is. There's the video I want. Nice. Okay, hopefully.
In this video, I want to expose some common lies and tactics.
I mostly agree with your take. But there's one take in particular I don't agree with. So I'm going to find. There it is. The Big Show. Hold on, before I start speaking, I'm not finishing up these pumpkin seeds because they are so freaking good. Okay. Yo, you were hella going on. Wait, do you mean I'm crashing? Okay. Hold on, guys. There we go, guys. Halloween's over to be eating pumpkin seeds. Underground. They're also a fall treat. So Oh, oh my gosh. Okay. I want to go. All right. And let's go to that portion of the video I disagree with.
He is. There's this show on Netflix titled The Glory, and basically it's about a girl who gets bullied by her peers when she was young, and as she gets older,
severely bullied, not necessarily by by her peers, who are also not good people at all.
She basically spends her life plotting her revenge against them. Now, I think it's quite obvious why.
Yeah, because it's not easy to forgive a person for doing that level of harm to a person, and that will cause said person to enact their revenge on this group of people. And you're right that as Christians we shouldn't actually take revenge on people in real life, as long as those ideals don't really go to our heads. But as for watching a show or watching a movie about revenge and seeing the good guy ultimately beat the bad guy in their revenge is very, very satisfying. Heck, I like watching people in movies and shows absolutely get what they deserve. For example, in the first Jurassic World movie, where the Vincent D'Onofrio character was there, and I think it was Blue that bit off his hand, and I was so friggin' happy. I don't know if I'm messed up for thinking that, but dang, as long as we don't have those ideals or hold a grudge in real life, and as long as that doesn't distract you from your walk with God, then you're fine.
This is wrong because we're not supposed to seek revenge on our enemies, but instead
Yes.
to forgive them and not to hold grudges
Mhm.
against them. I don't really see this happen quite often in real life where people actually full take revenge on others. But what I do see, and it's something related to revenge, is people holding grudges against others. And when someone holds a grudge, it simply means they are not choosing forgiveness. Surprisingly, the show XO Kitty actually portrayed revenge as a bad thing, which is something the show finally did good, and I can agree with. However, I still don't was
Yeah.
seeking revenge in the first place. Again, another way that the devil is trying to make Christians look bad.
Hold on. So I kind of agree with his point, but I disagree with his take on the glory. So for the glory, the main character Dong-un gets a revenge on is it Park Yeon-jin? Yeah. Yeah, it is Park Yeon-jin, the main antagonist of the show, and it actually has three Christian themes throughout the show. One, or I'm gonna say this as a motif, I'd say, where the main antagonist is pretty and beautiful, and Satan, aka Lucifer, was one of the most beautiful angels of all time. One of the most beautiful. But Lucifer acted like a narcissist with God and thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to steal the throne of God. So God cast down Lucifer. And yeah, and it shows just because said person is attractive, they may actually be bad people. And also, for another example, by the way, from this quote in Lord of the Rings where I think it was Frodo and Sam. They were discussing Aragorn, and Frodo said this line that a servant of the enemy would feel would be fairer, but feel fouler. Park Hyun Jin is the personification of that quote through and through, and also with some. I don't know if he discusses that in. I don't know if he discusses that in that video or like that most portion of it. I don't know. I might try and find it.
And basically, it's about a girl who gets bullied by her peers when she was young, and as she gets older, she basically spends her life plotting her revenge against them.
Hold on.
Now, I think it's quite obvious why this is wrong because I still don't like the fact that they made the only Christian character
Was that he was also discussing how in I don't know if it was like in the end of said video or I don't know if it was in another video. Probably. I don't. Okay, since I don't remember where in the heck in the video it actually is, but he was also saying how he was saying how he didn't care for like how Christianity was also portrayed in The Glory with the secondary antagonist Lee Sarah being a pastor's kid and her dad basically being a money launderer. And in the show, or later in the show, her dad's money laundering scheme gets exposed, and Sarah's downfall is basically stuff I can't say on YouTube, but yeah, and then early on in the show, Dong-gun goes to that one church and like vows justice against them. And yeah, I highly recommend The Glory. It's an amazing show. It really is an amazing show. And now to the main event. Come on. The Birdman attacking drinkers. Rachel Zegler derangement syndrome. I have that too. oh, it's this one. It's this one right here. This is the main video I'm going to be reacting to.
His car insurance to save people hundreds. Whoa! I'll go get his tickets.
Come on, there
Only
we go.
pay for what critic.
Hold on, guys. So, yeah. Shit. There we go. Oh my gosh. So, today we're going to be reacting to like this video. exposing the grift, the toxicity of YouTubers, which it's not really toxic. It's just people giving their opinions on certain pieces of media, and these types of people don't like what they have to say. And I have good advice for you. Don't care too much about what other people say as long as you enjoy a certain piece of media, as long as you enjoy it. And we don't really need to we don't really need to like criticize others for saying this thing or that thing about said piece of media. And yeah, let's get started with the video. In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hello, YouTube critic here. Or rather, it might be more prudent to call me a YouTuber critic these days, which is the reason we're here, Alteori.
Yep, I am also a YouTuber critic as of last week. And today is your turn, T3 Birdman.
Alteori.
Alteori.
Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, as I don't know who you are, and the only reason I'm aware of this video is one of my subscribers sent me a link to this video. The point is, I watched this video and I vehemently disagree with your take, as it comes across as ill-informed and an attempt to play to the crowd.
It is absolutely fine to disagree with somebody else's take. However, it's not fine calling a person a name just because you disagree with them. And this is going to be a common theme throughout these anti-woke criticism is valid criticism videos. It's going to be a common theme that these people right here are going to be calling people grifters just because they don't agree with what they're saying. Yeah, let's get back to it.
And to be transparent, I'll be responding to about 8 minutes of your 13-minute video, considering that after that, your video mainly becomes you reiterating earlier points and then going on to apologize for the obvious toxicity surrounding the acolyte and downplaying the overwhelming racist rhetoric as a few.
Because the acolyte was absolutely terrible. And thank God I didn't watch the whole thing after the lesbian space witch episode, where it explains the childhood between May and Osha. And then they do the power of one, the power of two, the power of Disney. We're on drugs. Yeah, and those night witches, they were on drugs. Oh my gosh, I made myself laugh there. What up, Anubis? Wow, that's weird. Wait, what? Oh, Anubis, if you're still here, what's up? What's up? How's it going? If you're still here? Yeah, I've been doing good. Wait, what? I might have to ask Joe if he comes in if that is true at all. Yeah, all I gotta say is that most of the time the people that give their opinions don't believe them anymore. It's about the bread. Yes, it's about the butter that's on the bread, and that the bread on these anti-woke YouTubers is like mostly curdled. It's mostly curdled in cheese. Yo, what's up, Takuwak? How's it going? More like the Wokalite. Yeah. What's up? Just be grateful we didn't get that horrible Powerpuff Girl CW show. Yes. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. That show would have been completely awful. And I mean so friggin' awful. Anyway. Okay, hold on. I want to do the HD one. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we gotta wait for this to load. And there we go.
You dumb people. So it would just be me repeating myself and redundant. Anyway, let's dig in.
Hold on. Before we get further in the video, there's a couple of segments of his video I may have to mute so that way I don't get copyrighted. So if you see me go for the volume button at that section of his video, I'm just trying to avoid copyright.
There are a lot of people, I'm sure, who have their own take on YouTube critics or people simply just giving their opinions. With the internet being such a vast place filled with countless topics and beautiful things to discuss, it makes sense that creators like Critical Drinker, Friendly Space Ninja, Alex Myers, and many others have their own opinions on movies, games, and any form of entertainment.
I'm not familiar with the other people you named, but I am familiar with the Critical Drinker. I even have a whole video dedicated to him on this channel. You see, I used to be a fan of his work. Like many of the people subscribed to him, I like to listen to a variety of viewpoints on me.
Okay, and throughout the common theme of his channel, he sounds like one of those actually nerds that have that condescending tone in which they are pissed that you get that wrong. And that's honestly this dude's voice throughout all of his videos. And I'm noticing like that common theme as well. So yeah, and anyone can give their opinion on literally anything whenever they want. And like literally whenever they want, because this is a free country. We're free to have our own opinions on certain things, and no one can tell us what we can like or dislike. Anyway, let's get back.
Media, especially film. Will Jordan is pretty entertaining as a critic, and I even like his voice. But the problem with him is that these are not simply opinions. An opinion is a view, judgment, or appraisal formed in the mind about a particular matter. And if that...
Yeah, that's what people like the Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Jester Bell, Asmongold, Griffin Gaming, Mahler, Melanie Mack, and many more, especially Alteori, they're giving their opinion, and their opinion on something, like, you can have your opinion be all negative about a movie or show, or in that same case, it can be an all positive one. If the movie and show is a meh, then say what you like about it, say what you dislike about it. And you can even say that for films and shows that are positive, that you deem positive, or that you deem negative. And sometimes in movies and shows such as the Wokalite, aka the Crapolite, or the Rachel Zegler Snow White movie, most of it is all negative. But I've been hearing that Rachel's voice is actually pretty good, Too bad she's a terrible person, though. Yeah. Let's get back to it.
Sounds particularly intellectual. That's because I stole it from Merriam-Webster. What Will Jordan does is grifting. He has learned that farming and harvesting hatred is profitable. So,
okay, you obviously disagree with this Will Jordan person because he said an opinion you don't like, and you're calling him a grifter because he said an opinion that you didn't like at all. Oh my gosh, this is like the common theme with these people. The common theme. And honestly, guys, listen to whatever opinions you want to listen to. You don't have to like continue watching their videos or watching their stuff if you don't agree with it. That is just all I'm saying here.
Anything that is mildly controversial or political, you can bet he will have a post about it. In one of the most sober moments of his life, friend and frequent collaborator of the Critical Drinker, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, blatantly admitted that this is what these people do.
I talks about this one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
So you see, they know.
Maybe he said that in a joking manner. And yeah, that's also a funny take on that situation because we can laugh at ourselves even if we do something stupid. Even though in the clip he just showed, it doesn't look like they were doing anything stupid, but it's just an oversimplified explanation that if a certain woke actress makes a video or is in a certain property and they say like, I don't know, bad things that make you genuinely concerned, then they're on it immediately. Because that's also their job.
They can get away with admitting this stuff publicly, and people like you will still allow them to hide behind the guise of, oh, well, it's only their opinion. After I uploaded my video, a lot of Drinkers fans attempted to tell me that I'm slandering people for their opinions. This is not true, and I'll explain.
It is true, and that is because you are slandering people for their freaking opinions and also calling them grifters, which they're not. They're just stating an opinion. And I don't know if you know the definition of a grifter. Hold on. There we go. What is a grifter in politics? Da 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 da. Okay, I think this is the noun. Let me look up the verb definition. Verb. Grifter. Okay, grifter person. Hold on. How do I... Or... Hold on. I gotta figure out how to like bring a certain tab. Shoot. Hold on. man. Okay, I can't do more than one screen. All right. All right, for those that don't know, which is these people, a grifter is a person who engages in petty or small-scale swindling, also known as a con person. Now, are people like the Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Jester Bell, Geeks and Gamers, the Quartering, and Ryan Kinnell, are they grifters? No. Are they people that state their opinions? Yes. Are you a grifter? Probably. I don't know. There we go.
Why? In the video I made about the drinker, I not once said anything about his opinions. What I pointed out was a series of behaviors that showed why.
Yeah, but it's the things we don't say that speak loudest. You don't like his opinion, so you're making this video. You're making this video on Alteori, and I might have to check out his video of the Critical Drinker. Now, I'm not doing this to like defend the Critical Drinker. I'm just saying like that you should not get mad at an opinion that you disagree with and like make entire 30-minute, 40-minute, 50-minute videos on why you dislike said opinion. And I think that this character from Street Fighter, that is his profile pic, and at least with Arlie Noah, at least he has an original profile pic and he animates it. It would be cool if TH3 Birdman like animated his pic, or animated his profile pic. And I don't know this character's name, but I know he's from Street Fighter. And yeah.
Why he was a grifter, from bringing up race and ethnic backgrounds in films where that wasn't the focus, to dishonestly manipulating footage in Glass Onion because the director directed a Star Wars movie, to lying about the Barbie film, you know, because it's woke. These aren't mere opinions. They are attempts to galvanize a volatile.
I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live or die a life of blonde fragility? Da 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 da. Something and something else I forgot. And even the drinker admitted in his review that the Barbie movie was not for him. It was not for him. It was mostly for women.
Audience. And it clearly works, because you can see people routinely saying the stuff he says in other communities, like mine. In other words, his contagion has broken containment. And this is why I disagree with the premise of your video, Ravioli.
Oh my gosh.
There are some YouTube critics that are toxic for society, and he's one of them.
No, he's not.
I created this channel to share my opinions and passions, whether they lean positive or negative. Now I understand that some people hate YouTube critics or anyone who is critical of anything. However, in this video, I'm going to try to be nuanced in discussing YouTube criticism, whether it's about games or pop culture.
And like that is because Hollywood has released a ton of crap that we don't even want of late. So that's why we as a society have become overly critical about the entertainment that we consume.
Culture in general.
I played all of that because I want the audience to keep these words in mind for when she does the exact opposite of what she just said.
Over the past few years, I don't know if you've noticed, but Hollywood and the gaming industry seem to have lost their spark.
Wow. Not even 5 seconds later.
Yeah. Hollywood in like the movie industry, and the TV show industry, like they have completely lost their spark. they've lost it. And every time they like try to light it with an old broken lighter, when they try to like do it, it doesn't even freaking work. It doesn't even work anymore. And also, another example, another saying of it would be kicking a dead horse. And they kept like kicking it and kicking it and kicking it until it's like dead. So Hollywood like better get their act together. And I know for like some studios they've kind of gotten their act together and ditched the woke stuff or like left it at the door. And there's some that still use wokeness. And then there are entire companies that continue to do it. Disney. Yeah, I just hope Disney like gets the woke out the door. Because whatever political opinion that you have should be out the door, and TV shows and movies should come first. Heck, even video games should come first.
And look, I'm not entirely surprised. When you have videos on your channel that look like these, it makes sense that this is your take. You are one of these people you're attempting to defend, or you want to be.
No, she's not. No, she's not. She's only given her opinion on the current state of Hollywood. If you don't like it, don't watch.
I mean, I get it. Grifting is profitable and money is a hell of a motivator. The only thing I ever ask is for people to wear their colors proudly. Anyway, the idea that Hollywood and the gaming industry have lost their spark is ludicrous and frankly a self-report. All you're telling me is that you don't watch it.
Yes, they have. It is completely true that Hollywood and the gaming industry have lost their spark. They've completely lost it. Gone out. Kaput. It's like an old car, you know? It's like an old car that doesn't work that great. You try your best to like get it to work, but no matter what, there's always going to be another problem with the car. Like with the engine, for example, I'm not an expert on cars, but if the engine is obviously like dying out and it's like a very, very old car, and you like try to put in like the newer engine, or if that engine's like an older model and they don't carry that model anymore, it is about time that you got a new car. It's about time you got a new car. Or if one of the tires like completely goes kaput, or if one small part that's like jiggling in the car like goes kaput. That is Hollywood and also the gaming industry all at once, and they refuse to get that shit repaired. They refuse to get it repaired. And Hollywood needs a big repair right now. And I know this particular video is like from 9 months ago, and basically what I'm saying here is that it's better late than never to react to it. And yeah, and for Hollywood, with that broken car analogy, they need to go to a repair shop or send that car to the junkyard. Honestly, send it to the junkyard, have it get crushed, and then go get a new car.
Enough movies or play enough games, which then tells me that you aren't the person for this particular job. Every time someone says things like this, they're almost always talking about potential blockbusters and AAA games, which excludes films like Love Lies Bleeding, The Lighthouse, Blink Twice, and Bullet Train, and the incredible indie gaming scene that's given us gems like Little Nightmares and Stray.
Yeah, we've like moved on to indie studios because they're giving us way better games than like AAA studios such as Ubisoft, and EA. They're the lead causes to like giving us shitty games. Just like some people move on to more indie studios or like smaller studio companies such as Angel Studios, which have released TV shows such as The Chosen or movies such as Sound of Freedom or Mother Cabrini. Or I think there was another film by Angel Studios. I don't remember what it was called, or I don't know which film I'm thinking of. But yeah, people are moving on to like other things for entertainment purposes.
And even if we were to talk about AAA games, Astrobot just won Game of the Year. Hogwarts Legacy surpassed Call of Duty as the best-selling game of 2023. My point is, this claim is entirely too broad and not only undermines the point you're attempting to make, it literally contradicts your promise to be nuanced.
Creativity appears to have been replaced by greed and corporate monotony. Franchises have grown so large that they no longer feel the need to innovate, and as a result, we're not seeing as many movies, blockbusters, or AAA games resonate.
Yeah, and that's what we want from said franchises, to innovate themselves a little bit more. Just like with the MCU Phase 4 with WandaVision, having some stuff from like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and then having it be like one of those 80s sitcoms and the 2000s mockumentary comedies. Yeah, that was really innovative for a pretty great show around that time.
With audiences like they once did, unless they're coming from overseas.
Why am I not surprised you are using footage for Assassin's Creed Shadows to underscore your point? Look, I agree that movie and game development budgets have gotten completely out of hand. It doesn't take $2 billion.
Yeah, where does that money go? Where does that money go? Where does the 200 or 550 billion dollars, like, where does that go? I'm going to tell you, it doesn't go into the media that they're working on. Nope. It's pretty much going down the toilet, down the crapper, because reasons in Hollywood, I guess. And let me tell you what, it's not towards the piece of media that people are creating. And it's certainly not towards the CGI. No, it is not towards that at all. And let's be more innovative with the CGI. Yeah, let's be innovative with it.
$1 billion to create a game that resonates with audiences. I mean, look at how many people love Ghost of Tsushima, a game that cost a slim $60 million to produce.
Yes.
All you have to do is make a great game, which is easier said than done, but still.
And all of the money went towards the game, the right technology, the right amount to hire developers, hire storytellers, hire graphic designers for the games.
Your point is well taken. The issue for me is you're doing the grifter thing by saying the East does it better than the West.
That's because they are doing it 10 times better. And they're sticking with the classic method of giving the audience a story, giving them characters for the audience to relate to and resonate with, and just overall telling a good story and keeping their political opinions at the door. Let me say this again for those that don't understand. The East is keeping their political opinions at the door. And that is why most things in Hollywood and in the gaming industry are failing. And that games from China, Korea, and South Korea, and Japan are succeeding. That's why they're succeeding.
Like how the critical drinker suggested that recent Japanese movies are better than American ones.
Yes.
But when asked to name Japanese movies he'd seen, he couldn't.
There's a reason people like in the West are starting to draw more and more towards, Korean or Japanese filmmaking. It's precisely because it's
because they get it right.
It's a bit different from what we get.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, what is the most recent Japanese film or at least entertainment that you enjoyed so far?
What am I thinking of? See, a lot of them would be older ones, like Old Boy, for example.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I know it's not Japanese, but
did the critical drinker just admit that that's not Japanese? You, sir, you, TH3 Birdman, have completely missed that part where he says, I know that's not Japanese, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's just continue.
Yeah, probably stuff like that.
And before I continue, Old Boy is a really great movie. And the twist ending was insane. And I mean, the twist, literally insane. Literally in freaking insane. And it is one of Park Chan-wook's greatest movies of all time. And that's what cements Park Chan-wook as a great director.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I really like that. And it's like Chinese, I think.
Did he say that's Chinese? Oh, Birdman, you've missed that part. You've missed it. You missed the part where he says that's Chinese. And I have also enjoyed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That movie was also great. It's literally so great.
But yeah, like it's these films that have been kind of peppered throughout the past 10, 20 years that are now, I think, just starting to make more of an impact.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think of other stuff. Like, for example,
Battle Royale.
Yes, Battle Royale.
Psst. That's what a grifter looks like.
No, you're wrong. That's what being put on the spot looks like. And if we're in the drinker's position where we're put on the spot for a question that someone asks us, it'll take a while for us to come up with answers. And also, this is what a grifter looks like. Yeah.
A person that doesn't know what he's talking about, but pretends to be an expert on a controversial topic. For my next trick, I'll ask Eric July about Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Dude, have you read Amazing Fantasy number 15?
All right, this isn't a gotcha. Can you please answer the question pertaining to Ice?
It kind of.
Yeah, this dude over here is not answering Eric July's question. And even though I haven't seen that specific stream of Eric July's, even though I haven't seen that specific one, this dude was not answering Eric July's question at all.
Fucking is. You're talking about being a comic book fan.
Can you please answer the question?
Holy shit! Do you know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is?
There are plenty of people that don't.
Do you know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is?
I mean, look at the example I just gave. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, it's a game set in Asia about Asians, but it was made by Sucker Punch, an American game developer. The Spider-Man series was created by Insomniac Games, a game developer right here in my hometown of Los Angeles. The aforementioned Hogwarts Legacy was developed by Avalanche, a development team based in Utah. Santa Monica Studio, another development team here in Los Angeles, made God of War. The idea that Western game development has lost its spark just tells me you don't know where the best-selling games were even developed.
Yeah, and there are like occasional Western games that are actually good. And you know what else? Actually listen to their audience. Yes, that is going to be a huge one in which Hollywood executives, even some people at the gaming industry, don't even follow. They often criticize their audience for like racism. If a protagonist that was like predominantly white turns into like, or a side character for that matter turns black for woke points. And for some media, I don't really mind it as long as the people playing those characters are competent actors that know what they're doing. For example, Jeffrey Wright with the Batman, and also Zoe Kravitz with the Batman. And also another example, crap, I can't think of like any other examples. I know. MJ in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Wait, is she black? Oh wait, that's a different character. Crap. Oh gosh. Sometimes your brain just has one of those moments where it puts the wrong 2 and 2 together. Yeah, well, let's continue.
It's well known that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be one of the best-selling games of all time.
Yep.
I mean, GTA 5 is literally the second best-selling game of all time, so this isn't exactly a stretch. Guess where Rockstar is located? And I know what the pushback to what I'm saying is going to be. Sales don't equal quality. While this is a half-truth that only applies in certain situations.
Agree. Sales don't equal quality. And over there we see, and I've seen in like Otterly Noah's Silent Hill video where he puts up that website where I think it was the sales of the game that gave it such a high score. So yeah, sometimes sales don't really equal great quality. Like on day one, the graphics look like crap. There are glitches, Assassin's Creed, that are so freaking insane. And I don't know if Assassin's Creed Shadows has like day one glitches. I don't know. It probably has. It's Ubisoft. Of course, they probably have day one glitches. But, and I heard that this Korean studio was going to work on a game called Crimson Dawn. And that if they release it now with day one bugs or day one glitches, audiences will hate it. But instead, they're going to take their time, make improvements to the game, and give us a good quality game. And quality is what we want. Quality over quantity is what we want. hey, anti-woke grifters and anyone in Hollywood, say it with me. Quality is better over quantity. Anyway, let's continue the video.
The point is, quality is subjective in the first place, and the only objective measure we have is sales. Besides, it's a non-point anyway. Otherwise, why do grifters celebrate when something flops if sales don't equal quality?
That is because it's a bad game. That is because it's a bad game. Same with a movie or a show. If it flops really hard, they make videos on it stating why this project like flopped hard in their reviews for said media.
For the same reason that the Marvels or Bird of Prey failed, because the male audience still hides a deep contempt for everything that is starring strong, independent women.
Oh, God. The truth is the truth, I guess.
Sure. I mean, that's definitely the reason Birds of Prey failed and the Marvels. It wasn't because they were bad films that no one wanted, for sure.
Yeah, and that is because Hollywood put in an agenda. Where they like, hold on, let me say this again. It is because Hollywood has put in their agenda about women into that media, and it makes for very cringe scenes like, oh, girl power. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Looking for great wine, spirits, and beer fast? Try delivery at Total Wine and More.
Hello, Birdman. Okay, I hope it doesn't crash.
So it's not that people are hating on everything for the sake of hating. The issue lies in the fact that something essential seems to be missing clearly from Western entertainment. There's been a societal shift that has directly impacted the quality of entertainment. I've talked about this topic time and time again, but for those who are watching me for the first time, this may feel fresh. For my longtime viewers, it might sound like a broken record, but still one thing is undeniable. People are more critical of media than they've ever been.
Yes.
And you don't think that has anything to do with grifters teaching them this behavior? Because I got it.
And that is also because of these grifters that people are starting to wake up, and that some of the entertainment they're consuming are really garbage. That they're consuming absolute garbage. And I got woken up since She-Hulk came out. Well, a little bit with Miss Marvel. A little bit with Miss Marvel, where it was like some concern about the show like being terrible, but She-Hulk really cemented that for me, and it's really woken me up from the positivity cult of, oh, the show is good, there's no bad things about it. Okay, I'm not going to go against you because that's your opinion. I'm going to go against you because there are some flaws in it. And oh boy, She-Hulk does have a bunch of flaws that we need to talk about. Starting with episode 5, where they go to that, or wait, I think it was episode 5 where Titania sues She-Hulk for the She-Hulk brand. That episode was so dumb. And also the wedding episode, that was dumb too. That was dumb. And with Nikki and the black lawyer chick not being professional at their jobs when talking to freaking Mr. Immortal about some kind of, I don't know if it was like a divorce case. Anyway, I don't remember, and I'd rather not. So, and then for that portion, they were like berating him to the point where he goes out the window and jumps. Oh my gosh. If I have like constant people negatively criticizing me about whatever, I'd honestly do the same. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and this is the movement where people are starting to wake up and I've noticed these things. Even people in both political parties have noticed. Yeah. And I know a couple of leftists that also dislike the woke agenda. My friend Ryan, who I know in real life, and Joe too. And Joe as well.
Tell you, I don't think I've heard the word objectively more in my life than in recent times after certain YouTubers have taught people that film can be objectively good and objectively bad. I'm sorry, it can't, and it can't because it's art. Not to mention the majority of recent public criticisms of media are almost always inherently political due to being taught this behavior by the OG grifters.
No, they're not. Do they sometimes put a conservative spin on it? Yeah, occasionally. But they're just expressing their opinions most of the time. And that Hollywood needs to stop with the agenda. They need to stop putting in the agenda for dumb ass reasons.
Democrats and Republicans. I mean, why do I give a fuck about Donald Trump and Ben Shapiro's opinions on movies? All they're going to do is talk about politics the whole time. And in Shapiro's case, spoil the damn movie. I'm usually not one for the causation fallacy, but you have.
Yeah, the Barbie movie was not for Ben Shapiro. And if he's allowed to say that he didn't like it, then he can say he didn't like it. Brett Cooper, on the other hand, who used to work at the Daily Wire, and I did a reaction video to her like Snow White movie that I guess was like not a movie, but it's just to like be better than Rachel Zegler's Snow White, which if the Daily Wire version of Snow White was ever a movie, it would be 100% better than Disney's Snow White, than Disney's. And you're with Matt Walsh, which he jokes about his Revenge of the Sith review because he's kind of like one of those dads is like, do I have to take my kids to this? This is so dumb. And he's just coming off of that as like a dad taking his kids to it. We don't have to like take political commentators like seriously. We don't have to take them seriously. But however, we don't have to listen to the YouTube critics. Like, heck, you can like watch a certain piece of media for your own or on your own, see what you think about it, and then watch the review of it, and then call it a day.
I have to admit that since the rise of people like the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, we've seen a commensurate rise in this type of rhetoric from the public.
On this channel, while I've explored different types of content, I particularly enjoy poking fun at things, even things that I like. That's just who I am. I love to laugh, but I understand how it might seem like I've been focusing on the negative. Here's the thing. When something is trending and a lot of people are talking about it, of course, we're all going to be curious. We want to join in on the discussion. And before we do, we'll want to check it out and give our take. When it comes to movies, that might mean watching one to review it, or probably explaining why we chose not to watch it, or even critiquing its marketing. The reason why so many YouTube critics seem overly harsh these days is very simple. A lot of things today genuinely deserve the criticism.
There is a difference between criticism and toxicity.
Yeah, and a lot of things today suck. They suck at delivering the story. And that is why people are moving on to East Asian movies, because they give you that genuine story. And that is why some people are moving on to like East Asian music or music from other countries, because it's different. It provides great entertainment value. And heck, yesterday I was listening to Turkish music for the first time. And I think the artist I was listening to is like, I think Alif. Hold on, let me look up her name. Shit. Alif. Wait, hold on. Give me a few. Alif Buse Dagan. Yeah, I started listening to her music just yesterday. And guess what? It's good. It's really good.
Though, Stromboli, the types of people you're attempting to run interference for and emulate, who are we kidding, are extraordinarily toxic.
No,
Allow me
they're
to
not.
explain what I mean. Here's an excerpt from a film critic who I consider to be the GOAT, Andrew Saris. Scene for scene, Scorsese may be the most talented contemporary American filmmaker, but wholeness has never been his strong point. Scorsese, like so many auteurs of his generation, cannot tell a story to save his life. His movies explode from the inside like a Jackson Pollock splotch, but the emotional pain often spills over the plot machinery, thus gumming up the narrative flow. Between them, De Niro and Scorsese and their associates end up with a breathtakingly new dimension of memory and regret. If only I could feel the slightest moral resonance as well. But I can't, and that makes all the difference. You see, that's what an opinion sounds like.
That is a more sophisticated opinion from a professional critic. And look, we don't have to be professional critics to tell if something is bad or if something is good. And the opinion that TH3 Birdman like was showing earlier, that is one form of an opinion from a professional critic. And I think he's implying that only freaking professional critics can give their opinions on movies and TV shows. And so that way the rest of us would have to like sit there and fuck all, I guess. But that's not entirely the case. We need YouTuber critics. Even if we don't 100% agree with their takes, but their takes on movies and shows and even video games are worth listening to. Yeah, they are worth listening to.
An honest engagement with the material by someone who loves and has studied film. He clearly doesn't like Raging Bull, but his dislike of...
Yeah, you don't have to like study film to like be a good critic, unless if you want to study it professionally, or if you want to become a professional film critic, then I'd go ahead and study the material. But for most of us, and also on the earlier point of why audiences are becoming way more critical of the media that they consume, and that a lot more people are being critics without studying without studying film or how to be a professional film critic, but you don't have to be a professional film critic to tell whether something is really amazing, a masterpiece, or really bad, awful. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
The film isn't underscored by a desire to stick it to the artist. In fact, he quite clearly calls Scorsese the most talented contemporary American filmmaker. Contrast this with how Nerdrotic speaks about Gladiator 2.
I'll give the CGI sharks this. They did just as good of an acting job as the overrated, overcast Pedro Pascal. You know, the guy who called half the country Confederates and those bad guys from World War II. And for his efforts, he gets cast in absolutely everything, which will, I think, eventually lead to a soft reboot of being John Malkovich, being Pedro Pascal.
Does that sound like a real film?
Okay, Nerdrotic's take there for his review on Gladiator 2 and how the CGI sharks did a much better acting job. Even though I don't really think the same, and that Pedro Pascal did a pretty good job with his acting, even though, and guys, I don't know how you're going to take this, but Pedro Pascal is an absolute weirdo in real life. He's an absolute nutcase. Even though he hasn't said or done anything to cement that he's a nutcase, thank goodness. But for some of it, he is a nutcase. He is a little bit of a nutcase in real life. But he is such a talented actor and would leave those opinions at the door. Or when promoting his movie, one of his movies, or one of his shows. And Nerdrotic just does that to be funny. He just does that to be absolutely funny, which works. Which in reality works.
Critic to you, a person that's honestly engaging with the material and telling us how it made him feel?
Yes.
Or is he injecting nonsensical political dialogue where it doesn't belong because he has a personal vendetta against the art?
Okay, which part of that sounds political to you? Give me two things from that which sound political. Give me two. I'm waiting, just in case if you do a video on me. I'm waiting. Oh, you're back? Have you named your two? Okay. All right, let's continue.
Themselves. If you were an honest person, you would admit that this is the type of rhetoric you see from people online. People shit on a property because of who made it, not what it actually was. And these people teach them to do this. And that's why this is toxic.
Or Hollywood.
Or the reason that more and more people are waking up to it is because they have woken us up into having our own opinions instead of being a part of the hive mind. Instead of being part of the hive mind, in which some people are, we as a society should have our own opinions, discuss them without yelling or screaming and saying why we don't like this or why we like this. We need civil discussions again. We very much need civil discussions again. Yeah.
Is failing. And it's not because people are being mean for the sake of being mean. If that were the case, these same people wouldn't embrace entertainment from other countries.
This is one of the biggest loads of shit I have heard in a while. And
No, it's not.
Just accidentally listened to Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar again. The idea that people are embracing media from other countries is full of oversimplifications. For one, when you're referring to other countries, what you mean is East Asia, specifically Japan, Korea, and China. I mean, you're not here singing the praises of Indonesian action films as I have been for the past 8 years. I mean,
wait, Jake, I think Joe's seen both Raid movies, right? And is singing its praises. Hold on. Okay. I'm a gift taker. Oh man. Oh my gosh. I'm going to play the hell out of GTA 6. Yes. Cough, cough, cough. Cobra Kai 2, Dojo's Rising. Cough, cough. Wait, is anyone here at the moment? Hold on. There we go.
I might be a little salty that whenever I tell people to watch The Raid, they have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, people aren't embracing content from other countries. They're settling into media that has always been popular here. I mean, Japan is a mainstay in popular culture. They have been producing electronics that were popular in America since the 70s, and then anime has had a cult following since the 80s. They have been producing video game consoles since the Color TV game in 1977, which then allowed them to release the Famicom, known to the West as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Needless to say, the West has been embracing Japan long before most of you were even born. Speaking of before you were even born, the West and China have had relationships for literal centuries, since the Silk Road. The fact that kung fu movies and Chinese food by themselves have been incredibly popular in the West means I don't even have to explain any further. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan has their name for a reason. Korea is relatively new to the game, but that's because their modernization has been relatively recent. South Korea by the 90s had transformed from a largely agrarian economy into an industrialized and rapidly modernizing nation, often cited as an economic miracle, referred to as one of the Asian tigers because of its rapid industry.
And you know what? South Korea is doing a fantastic job in giving us absolute bangers. And I'm not saying like all of their stuff is amazing. There's some stuff there's some movies and shows in South Korea that aren't the greatest pieces of media in existence, but they are 10 times better than stuff in the West of late. And that's what we want. That's what we want.
Realization. It hadn't joined the OECD until 1996, and then the 1997 Asian financial crisis hurt Korea far more than it hurt Japan or China. My point is that we are currently embracing South Korea because they finally have something to embrace. Moreover, Korean forms of media that are popular here are things Americans and the Japanese have already done. K-pop is a repackaging of Black American pop and R&B music.
Or they're inspired by pop and hip hop and make it their own. And this is the part where I might have to mute it. Yeah, mute. So I don't get copyrighted. Okay, there we go.
Dramas are the equivalent of American and Mexican soap operas. A game like Stellar Blade looks like it was made by a Japanese developer. And I'm not saying this to disparage them. I mean, seriously, look at my Korean dramas are the equivalent of American and Mexican soap operas. A game like Stellar Blade looks like it was made by a Japanese developer. And I'm not saying this to disparage them. I mean, seriously, look at my Netflix. I basically only watch Korean media on.
Yep. Heck yeah. And that's also my Netflix. And I see that you're watching Gyeongseong Creature over here. Nice. Maybe in another life, maybe we could discuss maybe we can discuss our love for Korean entertainment. Or maybe we could do that now. Maybe we can have a discussion about what our favorite K-dramas are, why they're amazing, and what we like and dislike about K-dramas. Maybe we can start that discussion, dude, at some time. Maybe we can do it. And I loved Gyeongseong Creature. It is such an amazing show.
Netflix these days, it's like my favorite thing. What I'm trying to say is that we are beginning to embrace Koreans because they feel familiar. A truly alien to the West culture does not get as much love here as these relatively familiar pieces of media do. Think about it. Indian music is incredibly beautiful, but
or Bollywood movies. I've been watching like quite a few Bollywood movies of recently, and even though their budget like is a lot smaller than ours, and the CGI and some of the background don't look the greatest, even though in some like Indian movies they do look absolutely fantastic. They look absolutely fantastic. But in the case of Indian movies, they tell a much better story than that of the West. Even if they don't have the highest budgets, they tell better stories, clearly better than in the West.
How many times have you seen an annoying Indian pop stan on Twitter? How many Mongolian movies do you know? Name the Egyptian TV shows you've actually watched. I mean, most Americans watched Squid Game.
Okay, if we're gonna be like that, dude, then I'm gonna ask you this: how many Turkish dramas have you watched in the last year? How many? Or how many Nigerian folk songs have you listened to? Oh, even better. How many, I don't know how silly this is going to sound, but how many Filipino video games do you play? How many? Since we're going to be like that, I might as well do that.
And with the English dub, the absolute heathens. That doesn't seem like actually embracing other cultures to me.
Yeah,
Okay, my friend Yvonne watches anime in dub, and like I don't like get on his case about it. Well, I don't know if I do occasionally, and I just say like why I prefer sub over dub because the subtitles sound way better and it feels more authentic to me. And some people have their reasons for why they put on the dub for foreign movies. And the reason they put on the dub was just in case if they have a project to do. So that way, if they're doing that project, they'd have some background noise to like occupy that time.
We see audiences flocking to content from places like Korea, China, and Japan.
I swear, I wrote that before she actually said it.
No.
You gotta love when people immediately prove your point after you've said it. Pardon the interruption.
Countries that haven't yet been overtaken by extreme political correctness or stifling creativity.
Oof, huge swing and a mess. Now,
ooh, huge swing and it's out of the park. Bravo. That was a fantastic home run point. That was a fantastic home run, Alteori. That was a fantastic home run. And even if he does say that it's a swing and a miss, that is a home run to me.
Now, I don't know what Spaghetti's ethnic background is, but it's clear she doesn't have the slightest clue about East Asian societies. First of all, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean cultures have traditionally been patriarchal, with social systems historically centered around male authority in the family, community, and broader society.
That's true.
In that sense, they could be
More
considered
conservative.
traditional and conservative in common parlance. I like to think of myself as a credible source on modern Japanese culture, as a person that speaks the language, studied the culture, history, and artwork.
Okay, then what is this? What is this? Is this artwork? Is this artwork to you? These 3 pictures are artwork. This is not. This is entirely not artwork. And you can also get that in the West whenever you want. But getting a good tattoo, going to wherever this place is, and also going to, like, I think it's a Shinto thing for Japan. I don't know, but yeah.
And someone that is constantly actually in Japan, I think I have a solid grasp on the country and can say the following with no sense of irony. Suggesting that Japan doesn't stifle creativity is blatantly ignorant and outs you as a person that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they clearly stifle some creativity, even though in a few societies they're like pressured into like giving their best at times. Like, yeah, that could be bad, but even if they are pressured into doing it, they're giving us much better entertainment, and I am very appreciative of the entertainment that East Asian countries are giving us. Yeah, I'm appreciative of that. What is up, Austin? How's it going, bud? I don't know if Jay can underground or here at the moment. Hold on. Hold on. Is that me watching? Yo, thanks so much for the 3 likes, guys. You are awesome. Hold on. I'm going to continue. And then after a couple minutes, I'm going to go make some dinner. I'll be right back.
They quite literally have a famous saying about this very thing. Derukugi wa utareru, which means the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. It is literally a call to conform.
And Hollywood has a whole bunch of nails sticking out to the point where it's dangerous to hold said object. And what do we need to do? We need to hammer it, cement that to the ground, so that way we'd get actual great Hollywood entertainment. So actually we'd get that.
That's not to suggest that the younger generation aren't gradually evolving.
Oh yeah, and also in the gaming industry, they also have a ton of nails sticking out to the point where it's dangerous. And we have to hammer those nails down in order for it to work properly. Imagine building a house. Imagine you're a construction worker and you're building a house. and you have to hammer a couple of planks together, or hammer in a couple of beams together. So that way the wooden beams would stick together. Now, if the nails are sticking out of the wooden beam, not in a not proper fashion, the beams would crash down and then they'd have to start all over. Or it's the same with drilling that in. If a screw is not in the right place, or if a screw is like not, if it's crooked, if it's in a crooked area, you have to take it out, redo it, and put it back in. Also you do this with whatchamacallit. You also do this with cutting wood with a saw. Now, you have to get it at the right angle in which you want. And sometimes we have to draw the line on the wood so that way we know where to cut. And if we get it wrong, the wood is going to look like trash, and then we're going to have to throw it out. And also, especially if the wood is wet, which in most cases, you should not use wet wood. If the wood is wet, throw it out. Throw it out immediately. And Hollywood is just using a bunch of wet boards together, which are going to crack. They're going to crack. Or another analogy I'm going to use is making a car. Now, you need all the correct parts in order for the car to function properly. And this is the second car analogy that I'm using. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me here. Now, if there is a certain part that is not in the car or is super important for the engine of the car to start, if that part is missing, the car will break down, it will not start, and you have to go get that certain part in order for the car to function properly. And what Hollywood is actually doing is that taking their broken cars and their wet wooden boards, which will split, even if it's a dry board and you're not careful, the wood would split. And Hollywood is just not being careful with that at all. Nope.
But anyone who actually knows anything about Japan will tell you they stifle creativity all the time. The Japanese rank among the world's highest in risk aversion. There are literally studies on this phenomenon. That you see the games you do from Japan is due to carefully calculated and curated moves made by some of the most intelligent and shrewd people you will ever meet. Now, I can't speak as intelligently to the situations in Korea and China as I can Japan, but I would imagine they are very similar. The Chinese literally live under censorship rules we would deem draconian, and Koreans get in huge scandals for smoking weed, like the actor who played Thanos in Squid Game did.
Yeah, and smoking weed is honestly not much of a big deal. It's not much of a big deal compared to all the scandals that we've been getting in Hollywood of late. I'm not saying you should smoke weed because smoking altogether is really not good for you. But for a case like that, even if they're celebrities like Top's bandmate or one of his bandmates was a part of the Burning Sun scandal, and some fans are like wishing that dude was back in the Korean entertainment industry for whatever fucking reason. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Some people are crazy. But smoking weed compared to being a part of an infamous group of bad people. Yeah, I would take the being a part of an infamous group of really bad people. That is just so bad. That is just like really bad.
Speed, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that could change someday, but for now, this is the reality. When millions of people, including those who aren't terminally online, are skipping these movies and games, they're not interested, they're losing interest, it's very clear that this isn't just about a vocal minority. The majority of people simply aren't investing in these products anymore.
I see your attempt at getting ahead of the criticism of your position, and I...
Yeah, and it also because the reason they're not invested in these projects anymore was because Hollywood has been trying to put in too much political correctness. They've been putting that in way too much, which is the absolute equivalent of the agenda. They're trying to put in the agenda wherever they can in movies, shows, and video games. And audiences are tired of it. They are so freaking tired of it. We are tired of it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go make some dinner. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm back. I think I found it. Like that's paper. There it is. Here we go. All right, guys, just had to go make my dinner real quick. There we go. All right, let's get back to the video.
Raise you the fact that you don't have empirical evidence to make this claim. From all available evidence, the people that are complaining about modern movies, etc., are a vocal minority. Setting aside the fact that online these conversations seem to be split down the middle on every single site that aggregates reviews, the movies you people
And those are usually like review bombs from like Rotten Tomatoes because they want to pretend to like have great audience scores, but in reality, they just friggin' don't. And I agree that score that I got, but was it a great movie? Yeah, I think it's a great movie. It honestly depends on who you ask. And this was like way before Marvel went down the shitter. And with Doctor Strange, multiverse of Wanda, my friend Joe didn't like Multiverse of Madness, but like I find it a guilty pleasure. This Thor movie was okay. This sucked, and this sucked through and through.
From the audience, this would point to a disconnect between the people you see in your online bubbles and the people that are actually going out to watch a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sites like Steam, Rotten Tomatoes, and CinemaScore show the audience's reaction to something they have actually consumed, as Rotten Tomatoes' audience score for movies comes from people who have actually purchased.
Yeah, that's not true. That's usually not true. Rotten Tomatoes isn't a trustworthy website. It's really not. So that's why people are more flocking towards the YouTube critics, because they're honest about what they're saying and don't try to swindle their audience.
Just a ticket, and CinemaScore's ratings are surveys of people literally walking out of a theater. On the other hand, sites like Metacritic are less trustworthy, given that anyone can rate a piece of media with no way to prove they've actually consumed the thing and no way to prove they.
That is freaking Rotten Tomatoes, dude. That is freaking Rotten Tomatoes. And how they do that, for crap's sake, what are you not getting? And I haven't been on Metacritic at all. I don't know if they're like trustworthy or not, but Rotten Tomatoes is like way worse for suppressing people just because they don't agree to their agenda. And that's mostly because they're paid by Disney to give the movies you've shown before great scores.
Aren't a sock account used for the purposes of review bombs. So why is it that the review scores for a film like The Marvels differs so much on Rotten Tomatoes than it does on Metacritic? Mm-hmm. The answer is obvious. The people you're talking about don't actually watch the things they are complaining about.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Just like with every other site, like Letterboxd, Critic List. Oh, let me get some food out of my teeth. There we go. IMDb, and many more. And this is a bit of an honest score.
And instead adopt grifter talking points in these reviews and attempt to artificially lower the score of a movie they perceive to be on the other side of the culture war. I mean, does this guy seem like a real person that actually watched this movie? Only 5 movies rated on the site, 2 of which aren't.
Okay. At least this guy is giving his honest opinion for the Marvels. That's what people should do. And if you don't like it, don't listen.
Viewable. One is the Marvels, another is the controversial film Cuties, and the other is the Old Guard, where his problem is a.
Hold on. Okay. And the reason he gave Cuties a low score because it's very controversial. It's a controversial movie about children doing schmexy dances. And that is plenty wrong right there. That is plenty wrong. Oh my gosh. And this dude said it wasn't actually bad at all. Yeah.
Black actress who was hired because of diversity standards.
This isn't just a few YouTubers pointing out flaws. It's a widespread issue. There are clear common denominators that explain why people have stopped financially supporting these once beloved industries.
Yes, the main one being that going to the movies is incredibly expensive in 2025. From 2015 to 2023, the average movie ticket at AMC had gone up nearly 24% in price in the United States. On top of that, concession prices have gotten out of control lately. At AMC, there is almost no price difference between a regular popcorn and a large popcorn. I mean, only a dollar or more for 380 extra calories. The pandemic, inflation, and material shortages with no raise in average wages have caused people to focus their financial health on things that are important, and movies are a luxury. Trying to equate the slump in theater going to Hollywood being bad is ignorant at best. There are a variety of free online do.
Okay. It is way more. And some of the reasons are the reasons I've stated earlier. And not just because going to the movies is so expensive, even though it's a common denominator reason. More reasons attribute to putting in the agenda in media. What part of that do you not understand?
Are complaining about a Star Wars movie. Effective marketing, subject matter, particular actors, and hell, luck and timing are what actually determine if a movie does well financially. Even in this so-called slump in theater going from 2021 to 2024, we had multiple movies hit $1 billion, like Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021, Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick, and Jurassic World Dominion in 2022, Barbie and the Super Mario Brothers movie in 2023, and Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2 in 2024.
That doesn't always mean said movies are good. Dune Part 2 was my favorite movie of 2024 because it delivered a fantastic story. Yeah, those are justifiable spots for like what? If you had Venom: The Last Dance like off there, you play Sonic 2. Wait, not Sonic 2. Sonic 3 like higher. And also Wicked should be a bit higher than that. Despicable Me 4 should be lower.
These numbers are typical. The only outlier is 2019, where 9 out of the top 10 movies each made at least $1 billion, something that has never happened in history.
It's worth noting that this whole narrative about YouTube critics being problematic didn't start gaining traction until traditional media critics outside of YouTube became irrelevant. And why did that happen? Because people stopped caring about what some disconnected expert at a major publication had to say and started valuing the opinions of regular people who actually experience the media the same way they do. Before YouTube, it was all about word of mouth, friends, family, or coworkers sharing their thoughts. YouTube is just a massive extension of that, where anyone from anywhere in the world can chime in on the discussions. It's more democratic and a lot more far-reaching.
Being a YouTuber myself, I intimately understand the value that we provide an audience. But
yeah, Alteori made a fantastic point. Now, before the YouTube critics, there was the word of mouth. Now, if some was good or if some was bad, you listen to that, no matter what. But now, and people trust the YouTuber critics because they've seen the movies, like we've seen the movies. As the audience, they're actually an audience. And that's what makes them so relatable.
Being a YouTuber myself, I also understand how toxic a community can be. I want you to understand that you are describing a more powerful entity, Linguini. A publication like the Chicago Sun-Times, the newspaper famed film critic Roger Ebert wrote for, reached peak circulation in 1996, with an average weekday circulation of about 400,000 papers. Currently, they get around 90,000 unique print readers, and a sizable portion of those people aren't even reading their movie reviews. And although 90,000 sounds like a lot, that pales in comparison to the 25 million views CinemaSins got on their Everything Wrong with 2012 video by itself. YouTubers and other content creators are far more powerful than any traditional film critic has ever been. And
yeah, because YouTube critics relate with the audience. Now, YouTube critics actually have seen the movies because they're an audience of that themselves. And whether you agree or disagree with a YouTube critic, it ultimately doesn't matter to you.
As we all learned from Amazing Fantasy number 15, that Eric July never actually read, with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Yeah, and what you're doing is using that great power and being irresponsible with it. That's what you're doing. You, Utterly Noah, and a few others are using that power irresponsibly. By like making 30, 40, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. By like making 30, 40, or 50-minute videos on why you disagree or why you think their take is wrong. And it's fine to disagree with YouTube critics every now and again. It's fine to do that. But what you're trying to do over here is actually be grifters. You guys are actually grifters.
YouTube critics are actually essential because they provide honest feedback that resonates with audiences.
This isn't entirely true. What you meant to say was that their takes resonate with...
Yeah. And with the points I said earlier, they relate to the audience. They really do. And you are going to pretend that you're all high and mighty because you listen to some professional critic talk about whatever, when you can just watch a YouTube critic whenever you want. Whenever you want, dude. And I get it. The Critical Drinker is not for everybody, but for his audience, they certainly are.
Their audience, a very carefully curated audience. For example, my audience is much different to Nerdrotic's audience, and in fact, would be at odds more often than not. This is because the audience he's curated would be more politically charged than my own, as when I review or talk about film, I tend to leave political and controversial out-of-universe topics out of a review. People come to me because they want the brass tacks about a film, and perhaps even a bit of my personality thrown into the calculus. People go to him because they likely want to hear his political takes on a film. So while I agree that we do resonate with various audiences.
And what are you doing right now? Because you sound like you're an absolute hypocrite. You're an absolute hypocrite, dude. Because number one, and I mean this very well, number one, you got a bit political by calling the other side political. And yeah, they might put their political takes in, but it's unlike the forced agenda. And B number two, it's the condescending tone for me. That's why I don't watch you that much. And that's why I might react to more of your videos in the future.
The disconnect is whether or not the feedback is honest. The Critical Drinker specifically stated that Gina Carano couldn't act.
But for the life of me, I'll never understand why they cast Gina Carano. I mean, she's big and burly, and she obviously knows what she's doing when it comes to the fight scenes, but she's a fucking cage fighter, not an actor. Watching her trying to emote is almost as painful as watching Brie Larson trying to be funny.
After she comes out as being on his political side, he...
Okay, that was funny. Even though I disagree with the drinker on his take of Gina Carano, I think Gina Carano did great in Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2. Is it Oscar-worthy acting? No. Is it good acting? Yes. It's good acting.
Changes his tune on her, rating one of her most recent films highly, and actually praises her acting. Sensing people like me would call him out about this flip-flop, he attempts to get ahead of the criticism by...
Or it's not a flip-flop. Or what about this? The reason the drinker is praising Gina Carano for her performance in Terror on the Prairie was because she got a much better script and did a much better acting job. See, that's a difference. Not flip-flopping as you claim he does.
Well, I'll let you hear it.
She's a mother and a homemaker forced into a situation that she's absolutely not prepared for, rather than some wannabe action hero just bursting to get out. And it's almost a novelty at this point to see a female protagonist who isn't instantly brilliant at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell this movie wasn't made by Hollywood, I'll say that much.
Yep.
And I'll give Gina Carano credit here. She does a pretty good job with this character.
Mm-hmm.
I've said before in my Mandalorian review that I don't consider her to be an actress of great dramatic range. She's basically made a career out of playing big burly enforcers who let their fists do most of the talking, rarely taking on roles that demand more than she can give.
This, you see him getting ahead of the criticism, the one that I'm levying against him right now.
And so I was kind of braced for the worst when I realized she was going to have to carry this film without more experienced actors to back her up. But I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw here.
Okay. I think we've heard enough. He's all of a sudden he's changed his mind on this actress that can't really act because she's acting in a right wing.
Or how about this? You are twisting a narrative, saying that he's flip-flopped on Gina Carano, and he just said that he was pleasantly surprised by her acting performance in Terror on the Prairie. Now, she didn't have to rely on any big-name actors to carry her, and that she by herself is a great actress and a lot more versatile out of her usual roles of playing big, burly women. What, you want her to be that forever? You want her to be that forever? No. For example, Matthew McConaughey. He did romantic comedies for quite some time. Until, I think it was either Interstellar or True Detective, where he branched out a bit and is now a well-acclaimed actor. Yeah. Sometimes actors have really great range. I don't know if you understand at all.
Production, and she's come out as a right winger. All of a sudden, she couldn't act when she was, the girl boss in the Star Wars, the left wing Disney Star Wars stuff. But in this one, she's pretty good. Pretty good. Does that sound honest to you? Do you honestly believe that he believes what he just said?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it only took her 11 films to get good at acting, which just so happened to coincide with her coming out as right wing. Right.
The fact that they have all these massive followings and a lot of people who are subscribing to them proves that people trust them far more than corporate-backed review outlets or platforms like Rotten Tomatoes, which have lost credibility because of review censorship.
I accidentally got Apple juice on my screen. I'll be back. Shit. Yeah, I don't want the screen to be sticky. I'm like the iPad kids with their freaking iPads, on the other hand. And The Woman King was awful.
And obvious pandering to big studios.
There's a lot wrong with this. First of all, people prefer YouTube and other online content for that matter because of its accessibility and the fact that it's free. We are all carrying black rectangles in our pockets that can access pretty much the entirety of human knowledge, and they all have YouTube on them. Most traditional rags have paid subscriptions and are relatively out of touch with the current internet model of everything should be free, but with ads everywhere. Secondly, you are a large platform contributing to the misinformation about Rotten Tomatoes. That site is a review aggregate. It's simply telling you how many critics rated something 3 stars or above. But you're also undermining the audience score, which is currently one of the best gauges of audience engagement with a film property right now, given its structure that I laid out earlier. Because one has to actually pay for a ticket to a film in order to give that film a rating that counts.
Oh dear. I see a lot wrong with this. And like I've said before, Rotten Tomatoes suppresses some of those and nitpick the negatives or some of the negatives in order to keep and or hide the negatives from the general audience. I don't know if you've heard that.
Against the score, it weeds out the vast majority of trolls who seek to review bomb a film, thus giving us a more accurate indication of audience.
Or, hear me out, audience reviewers. Yeah, some honest reviewers that posted a review that Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like, or Disney, for the most part, doesn't like. They delete those pictures out, get them banned for all of eternity, and then sing the praises of the more positives. Oh my gosh.
Opinion.
So the critic and audience score-related website, Rotten Tomatoes, which curates reviews from some of the top critics of film as well as audience reviewers of films, and they compile them all together and give it a rating. And one of the few not stuffed shirt critics on there is Matt from Matt Movie Reviews. And Matt and I are friendly with each other. I have gone on his podcast a couple of times now. He's a really cool guy. And listen, we don't always agree on a movie. He didn't really like Reagan as a biopic. I thought Reagan was good as a biopic. That's just how it is, how it goes. Sometimes you disagree. But no disagreement on the merits of a film should get you censored. That is what happened to him related to Rotten Tomatoes. They decided that they were just going to cut him off, that all of his reviews that he wrote that got curated on the website were going to be taken down. And I think that this is abhorrent on more than one level, which I'll get to in a minute. But first, I want to bring you what Matt had to say. He writes, "This morning, I received an email from the Rotten Tomatoes critics team that read, in revealing your recent portfolio of work on Rotten Tomatoes, our team has concluded that your current reviews do not meet our criteria for tomato meter approval. As a result, I am no longer a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, and all of my reviews listed on RT, 18 years worth, have been removed. To add insult to injury, I cannot reapply until March of 2027. I'm not sure exactly what reviews in my recent portfolio have led to this expulsion from RT. My most recent reviews include a negative one of Conclave, which is distributed by NBC Universal, who also own Fandango/Rotten Tomatoes, and a positive review of the Matt Walsh documentary, Am I a Racist?"
So, as Studio Jake pointed out in that clip that I just showed, Rotten Tomatoes seemed to allegedly scour that guy's reviews from the internet, seemingly because his reviews simply didn't align with the studio's ideals or agenda.
So you take a single example that has no context.
Yeah. And that is what most of these left-wing studios are actually doing. That's what they're actually doing. They use sites like Rotten Tomatoes to like block out to block out reviews that they don't like or that aren't with the agenda at all. Ban said people from reviewing on Rotten Tomatoes again, and just being dicks. Hopefully Rotten Tomatoes gets a good cleanup.
Other than, I know this guy, he's a nice guy, from a tiny anti-woke YouTuber, and leave it at that. Is the suggestion that Matthew reviewed Matt Walsh's film and that was the reason he was taken off the platform? Well, then you're going to have to explain all these critics who also reviewed Matt's film, who are all still on the platform reviewing other movies. And yes, that includes the ones that rated it positively. Maybe there is more to the story, but because of all the misinformation surrounding Rotten Tomatoes, people are willing to give this conspiracy theory the benefit of the doubt. Matthew took to Facebook and explained that not even he knows why Rotten Tomatoes took his reviews down. But of course, the anti-woke YouTuber thinks it's because he positively rated a right-wing movie that multiple people positively rated, including Jeremy Johns, who is still on the platform, and because he negatively rated a film distributed by a group that also owns Rotten Tomatoes. But so did this guy, and he's still on the platform, giving a review as recent as 5 days ago as of the writing of this video. So why are there many people that did the exact same things Matthew did, but are still approved on the site? Could it be that he broke the code of conduct? Maybe his reviews failed to appear in the Tomato Meter approved publications list, because according to...
Or, hear me out, Rotten Tomatoes didn't like his reviews of certain media and decided to ban him. Have you ever considered that?
the email that Matthew posted himself, it seems as if Rotten Tomatoes updated their criteria and his reviews failed to meet them, which is most likely the case. But to take the nuclear option and suggest this person was censored doesn't even make sense given the available information we do have. Perhaps you should wait for more information before suggesting something nefarious is going on.
And this kind of censorship completely undermines the entire purpose.
Yep, and that should also go for left-wing media or happenings all over the world as well. You need to look at the context of said situation. And remember, context is important.
For why people leave reviews in the first place, which is to offer honest, diverse, and independent opinions need to reflect the spectrum of genuine audience reactions, not just the ones that align with a particular agenda or ideology or make the studio look good.
Given that I just explained what's actually going on here, it seems like Rotten Tomatoes is doing exactly that which you claim they aren't doing.
Wait, hold on. Before I explain, is this a video or is this the stream going on? I have no idea. Okay, let me see. For
one guy getting taken off a platform is nowhere near enough evidence to make any of the claims you are. This is not only bad,
no, it's not bad journalism. And YouTube critics are great for society. The same reason why word of mouth was great for society, because it lets you, the viewer, know whether to check out a certain piece of media or whether to not check out a certain piece of media. And that is happening all over the world. And I don't know if England and France is also doing the woke bullshit. That's like complete garbage. But yeah, at this point, dude, you should just, at this point, Birdman, you should just quit. Or I'm not saying to completely quit, but you should quit making this type of content, dude, because clearly it ain't worth your time. It ain't worth it.
Video's title poses.
If people can't trust the reviews that they're seeing, the credibility of the entire platform comes into question.
Well, yeah. If people like you continue spreading misinformation about the platform, you will build resentment in those that follow you.
No. Nah. I don't think so. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so.
And we again have to answer yes to your video's title.
And once you lose that trust, it's very hard to take the ratings or opinion seriously, knowing that there is this agenda lurking behind the curtain.
Rotten Tomatoes. And also Disney with woke agenda properties. Oh my gosh. And like Disney it'll take a while for people to start trusting Disney again, just like it'll take a while for Warner Brothers, even though they've made some good movies, some great movies. It'll take Warner Brothers a bit to gain the trust of the audience. And this is why people go to independent studios and the East, because their trust is taken seriously.
Because it deletes people with a specific type of perspective, but it doesn't delete those with the opposing perspective. And that's why platforms like Rotten Tomatoes face so much skepticism. And frankly, they're going to need to do better if they want to regain that trust from the audience. But I already think it's too late personally. But YouTube critics end up filling that void, giving the regular people a voice, especially those whose voices would have been censored in platforms like this where you're supposed to leave reviews, not just through their own videos, but also in the vibrant comment sections where audiences can engage directly and share their thoughts to the creator, just put it out in the ether with each other.
But Rotten Tomatoes already has a section where audience members can share their thoughts. It's called the audience score. Granted, you have to purchase a ticket through Fandango.
And sometimes the audience score is not directly honest. Yeah, it's not directly honest. And that these are just like, I don't know, the crew behind the movie, like saying, oh, movie's great. It's a masterpiece. I love it more than the original trilogy. Oh, I love it more than Revenge of the Sith. No. Honestly, no.
For your rating to count towards the verified audience score, but that's a good thing. It proves you've actually seen the movie you're about to rate. And
or, hear me out, it oppresses certain people based on if they're part of a certain group or certain party, or if they don't agree with the agenda that the movie's trying to put in.
Means we can generally trust that your opinion is at least based on having consumed the property. I would go even further and suggest Metacritic should implement a similar process where in order to post a review on the site, you have to produce a ticket stub with the valid QR code on it. But even on Rotten Tomatoes, there is already an unverified section where people who didn't pay through Fandango can share their thoughts. It's up to you to go through those and read what people say. And if you really cared, you would already be doing this.
Some of those are not honest audience scores, or not honest audience opinions. You got to take a look at the facade, unmask it, and go to the actual honest ones.
Is that you really don't give a shit what the audience actually thinks and just want them to be able to artificially alter the score of a film that you don't like for whatever reason.
Or when movies rely on lazy storytelling and overused tropes, these critics shine a spotlight on the flaws, or they criticize it, or they make fun of it. Their feedback forces creators to rethink their approach. And this leads to better quality products in the long run, as it always has.
Yeah, and this is what Disney does a superbly terrible job at: listening to honest audience feedback. I think Disney should take notes, even though, like with that Win or Lose show, they took out a trans plot, or a plot involving a trans character. And that is a step in the right direction, because that Win or Lose show is a kid's show. It's a kid's show. And there's no need to put an LGBTQ agenda into it, because that is more for adults. That is more for adults. So at least Disney's like taking a step in the right direction, but they got a long way to go. And I'm talking a long way to go. And with Amazon, with Rings of Power, I hope they're listening, but stop making that show. It's bad. It's really bad. And I think some sections at Netflix also need to take notes on like how to tell a story properly. Maybe with like Netflix Korea, they tell stories properly. And some sects of Netflix tell stories properly. And I'll be right back, guys. I gotta take some crap out. Okay. Nice. I'm back, guys. Let's continue with the final minutes of the video.
How are you not describing publications like Game Informer or IGN? Do you think that YouTubers are inherently different than the people writing reviews for those publications? Why? Because you believe writers for magazines?
Yes, because they give honest feedback. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to be a professional critic in order to give something your God-given honest feedback. I'm irritated at this point.
Can be bought and pressured to say certain things. YouTubers are being caught for that very thing every other week. Wasn't it just revealed that Tim Pool has been taking money from Russia in exchange for being a propagandist mouthpiece?
No.
What the hell do you think sponsorships are? Do you honestly believe everyone promoting Raid Shadow Legends has even played that game, let alone like it? How many human beings do you honestly see walking around wearing Raycons? That which you people criticize traditional media for is literally standard operating practice for every content creation platform.
Yeah, even though Raid Shadow Legends happens to be on like every medium YouTube channel that like sponsors them, and also Raycons, for example. But the reason on why those two companies want to sponsor those YouTubers was because they thought that those YouTubers are really good. And I've played Raid Shadow Legends a few times, and I've undownloaded it off my phone those few times as well. Do I like it? Yes. Well, I think it's decent enough. I think it's decent. And it also helps both parties make money. Have you ever heard of that before?
YouTubers are not exempt from this practice, only it might be worse because we don't hold YouTubers to any form of journalistic integrity standards. Because if we did, Synthetic Man would have been off the platform a long time ago. I like the freedom we have to express ourselves on this platform. You are right that it's important for people to be given the space to have their say.
Yes, I agree with you on that too. However, your actions are proving otherwise. Your actions have been proven otherwise.
My issue is that I think YouTubers should be responsible with the power they wield, specifically because it is unchecked.
Yeah, YouTubers like you. YouTubers like you. Dude. YouTubers like you. And Utterly Noah. And CK. And Colin. And literally every other, I think they're left wing. And any other like left wing YouTuber who like has the same thing in their titles of anti-woke grifters, da 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 da. You know what, dude? Go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner. Okay? The adults are talking.
Information and outright lies can spread on this platform at nearly the speed of light. It's true that we can hold our fellow content creators to account, but even then, this pits our audiences against one another, Pastrami. YouTube to me is a place where we share ideas and have discussions, not a place we create demigods whose words are taken as law simply because one has more followers than another. That someone is speaking your thoughts that you may not have been able to articulate does not mean the things you were thinking aren't toxic. Your video seems to hinge on the idea.
And that is what's beautiful about it. And that's what's beautiful about diversity, because we have a diverse ton of thoughts from a ton of different people. And not always people look at it the same way another person does, but, and this is important, but diversity of thought is a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Idea that it's okay for these overly negative channels to exist simply because many people are also thinking those things. But the problem is usually that these ideas are very poorly thought out and lack evidence and nuance, and yes, contribute to toxicity surrounding certain media properties where there shouldn't be. I mean, I just took your Rotten Tomatoes conspiracy to task with 5 minutes of research, something you couldn't be bothered to do because you're only interested in furthering the mistrust of that platform. So you haven't actually answered the question you are posing, and instead made a case that people seek people that already agree with them, something we all already know. But I can answer your question. Yes, you.
Or hear me out. And I've said this about, I don't know, a couple of times. People want honest feedback from movies, from YouTube critics for the movies and shows that are coming out or what they've watched. So, yes, YouTube critics are a good thing for the diversity of opinions. Oh my gosh.
YouTubers can be toxic
No.
for society. And unfortunately,
No.
I would use you as evidence.
Okay, that's like a version of Crazy by La Seraphim. Okay, let's end the video. And then and then shit. No. I don't want to hear this guy's voice anymore. There we go. All right. I didn't know you were who you were either, and someone directed me to you, so hello. Of course, there are going to be things we disagree on, yes, but frick. But one I still firmly stand by is my stance on Rotten Tomatoes, which I agree with her on. Rotten Tomatoes has lost my trust because they were caught censoring legitimate reviews posted by people who actually paid for tickets, while simultaneously allowing dozens upon dozens of copy and pasted positive reviews from unverified audiences. And that is from the cult of positivity. Admittedly, I might not have mentioned this in the video because I've already addressed it in several previous videos, but that's not a good enough excuse since this might be the first video someone sees from me. As a result, it may have seemed like I didn't research the topic thoroughly, even though it's a long-standing issue I've discussed before. Another thing I still disagree with is your use of the term grifting, and that I also disagree on too. And I'm irritated with TH3 Birdman. I just really am because he's really not getting it. I still believe you're using it incorrectly. Yes, him and other people are using the term grifter incorrectly. While I agree that some people use their channels primarily to air grievances, I don't think that qualifies as grifting when you consider the actual definition of the term. I'm not in a position to judge others, but I can speak from my own perspective and integrity. Of course, if you don't actually know someone, there's no way to truly gauge that. And if my opinions happen to line up with someone else's that people dislike, it's easy for others to assume we all lack integrity. I just don't think that's a fair way to look at it. Most of my videos are just me sharing my opinion on different topics. Bravo! As it should be. As it should be. But trust me, when it comes to intellectual analysis, I'm far from the person anyone should look to for that. I'm just a regular girl on the internet sharing her thoughts. YouTube used to be about you and what makes you, you. For more in-depth or intellectual takes, though, people like the Little Platoon or the Friendly Space Ninja are far better suited for that than I am. All in all, I think your video was very well thought out and civil. I kind of disagree. Thank you for taking the time to create it. Yep. And then look at the comments. And then look at the comments. No, it's not painful to watch. The critical drinker was put on the spot, as everyone would be if they were put into that same position as well. And there's more other comments from his audience too. I agree that Everything Everywhere All at Once was a good movie, but does it give that same spark? Well, that there are some creative people out there that still have the spark, but unfortunately it's not enough to like light it to the level of one of the canisters from Monsters Inc. Hold on. There we go. Stop sharing. There we go. And there we go. And oh boy. So irritated right now by TH3 Birdman. I am so irritated by him, to be honest. And I don't know if he's like not 100% getting it, or he's not, or he just doesn't want to. I'm going to say the latter. He just doesn't want to accept the reality that Hollywood is putting in a woke agenda. And does that mean I want conservatives to take control of Hollywood? No, it should be a fair balance. And we need that fair balance again in Hollywood. That is what we need. That balance. I'm a gift taker. Did I read that right? Yeah, I think I read it already. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you're new here, or if you want to see more of my anti-woke criticism is valid criticism live streams, you can. And hopefully I'll see you all either at some point or tomorrow. Thanks for watching.